I dream of a digital India where high-speed digital highways unite the nation. I dream of a digital India where 1.2 billion connected Indians drive innovation.
Narendra Modi clearly outlined his agenda for a digital India, a country that is connected. However, connectivity brings forth a lot of other issues. Are we actually ready to connect? Computers, smartphones, tablets and 1,000 other high-tech devices have become everyday objects, and internet access everywhere has become the norm. Technology is making your lives easier and more fun. A technology and lifestyle revolution is underway, connecting billions of smartphones to the cloud and creating the Internet of Things. Today, there are more than 13 billion interconnected digital and electronic devices in operation globally, equivalent to nearly 2 devices for every human on Earth. The market for mobile-enabled payments in India grew more than 15 times between 2012 and 2015 to reach its current size of $1.4 billion. The worldwide IoT market will grow from $655.8 billion in 2014 to $1.7 trillion in 2020.
We hear a lot about Internet of Things or Internet of Everything.
Technology is everywhere. It's right in our smartphones, in our watches, the air conditioners at home, at the refrigerators, pretty much everything that we use today, even wearables, technology is everywhere. As we bring in all these technologies to make our life easier, the common question we have to ask ourselves is how can we bring all these technologies while making sure we do not compromise on safety.
Safety. This word works like an alarm clock, opening our eyes to the potential dangers lurking around in this digital era. So aren't our connected devices already safe for use? What does this safety imply? Are we asleep walking towards a tech-driven nightmare?
As these technology products came into the world, the initial discussion on safety was, is it charging well? Is it overcharging? Is it heating? Is it overheating? What is the kind of radiation coming from these devices? Those were the primary concerns that we dealt with in the past, maybe even the 20th century. The 21st century, the world is moving towards connected devices. The whole interoperability comes into question, and with connected device, the challenge with all residential and commercial systems is the potential penetration of these security systems, and therefore cyber security becomes even more important in the 21st century.
What if we went for power for a couple of days? Or what if we are driving a car and suddenly you realize somebody else has taken control of that car? What if you're driving in a plane and you realize that the pilot no longer is in control of that plane? This is not a science fiction, this is not a Hollywood movie, these are actually incidents that have happened over the last couple of years. So it's important to understand that technology can really help us improve our lifestyles, but technology also has its own safeguards that need to be maintained.
With the widespread availability of wireless signals, any device that has network connectivity is attackable, either directly over the network or indirectly with an application.
All these technologies, they are all connected to each other. The question to ask is, how are they connected to each other? We use some kind of a sensor to actually either monitor or control a device, whether it is a smartphone or whether it is a wearable or whether it's an airplane flying 35,000 feet high above the sky. The challenge is, the moment you are able to monitor and control through any kind of a chip, there is always an inherent risk of potentially getting hacked or getting into the wrong hands.
The government is increasingly coming up with Wi-Fi zones for the benefit and betterment of the common citizenry. However, a majority of the security elements of these Wi-Fi zones are areas which are not particularly emphasized. So the government needs to work on the cyber security of the Wi-Fi networks that are being provided.
Society's increasing dependence on wireless communication technologies has transformed many aspects of our day-to-day life, and most of us are both more productive and more connected than ever before. And it's also led to new security vulnerabilities.
The reality is that today people are increasingly storing their personal information, confidential data, financial records on digital platforms. And without making them very secure, we are effectively giving an invitation to hack to all potential cyber criminals and hackers.
Use of internet is something like using express highway. The way you drive yourself on express highway and take care of yourself and your safety, same way while using internet you need to take care of your personal data and company data while using internet.
The world becomes increasingly interconnected, but the boom is creating opportunities for hackers and thieves, and the security gaps are leaving us all exposed. Cybercrime now ranks 4th in the top 5 global risks.
That a variety of new distinct kind of cybercrimes are coming in, but broadly speaking, when I look at the landscape, I'm looking at 4 distinct kind of cybercrimes that are emerging. There are cybercrimes against property, where the target is property, being data which is resident on computer systems, whether it's hacking or cracking. Then there is cybercrimes against persons, where a particular person is being targeted, cyber stalking, cyber bullying, cyber harassment. And then there is cybercrimes against nations, like cyber war and cyber terrorism. And the 4th category is this newly emerging cybercrimes, whether it's mobile crimes, whether it's social media crimes, or whether it's Internet of Things crimes. So it's all a very fascinating space to look at as we see the more enhanced growth of cybercrime.
Our smartphones go everywhere with us and do everything for us. And along the way, they collect all kinds of personal information, from precious photos and contacts to private messages and financial account details.
Most of the people, they install unknown verified application from different sources. So once you install, you're giving all the permission to that application. Your vibration, your Wi-Fi, your banking system, your SMS, browser history, and so on, all the details. They require to get installed in your mobile. And you cannot deny it. Once you deny it, you cannot install it. So once you install that thing, you are actually giving them authority to check all the things.
In today's time and age, there is more personal and work-related information accessible on your devices than ever before. So if your information is as mobile as you are, shouldn't your security be too?
Today we use all kinds of apps on our smartphones. These apps all ask for certain kind of permission from us, whether it is access to our phone records or contacts or pictures and whatnot. All of these records, as long as our phone is connected to some networks or internet through Wi-Fi, all this information is flowing back. Now, these kinds of information could potentially be very, very dangerous for us to expose ourselves to. So in the 21st century, the data privacy, the security and safety, all of these concepts are very intertwined with each other.
There are a lot of disparate devices that are now accessing the internet. Even firms have started encouraging the BYOD policy, that's bring your own device. So you have a lot of corporate data that's pilfering and going down onto the end user devices like personal tablets, PDAs, phones. So data theft is likely to grow. So as a sound mitigant to that, you need a robust cybersecurity policy, and it should downstream, and you should think about how you want to share content, how you want to publish content, and how you want to downstream content across your organization, to your customers, to your suppliers.
The need is to have safe and seamless technology that ensures that the user is safeguarded against any threats or vulnerabilities, and clearly that's an area of immense focus at this point in time.
In this mobile age, more and more people are joining the online payment bandwagon and making financial transactions from their connected devices, opening up a new avenue for online theft and pilferage. While paper-based transactions cleared through checks amounted to 85 lakh crore rupees in the financial year 15, paperless transactions were to the tune of 92 lakh crore rupees in the same period. And more people are using mobile wallets for the online transaction. But how can we be more sure about the security and safety of our online financial transactions?
In case of mobile wallet, mobile number is known, so what you have is already known. But what we have done is on mobile app, we have bound the mobile number to the app by sending a one-time password whenever somebody is creating a mobile wallet using a app download from Apple Store or Google Play Store. So that one-time password binds the application to the mobile number, and thereby what you have is your mobile and what you know is your MPIN. In case of ATM PIN, it becomes your MPIN, which is called mobile PIN. You are using your ATM card and ATM PIN, and that becomes a very secure because the entire communication from mobile wallet to the backend is encrypted through multiple encryption techniques that are being used. When you are using this mobile wallet on, let's say, an eBay or a PVR Cinema, etc., it's a third party site. So mobile number is already known. So first factor is known. You are putting your MPIN. Once you put your MPIN, that's only one factor. So what we do is we ask customer to generate a one-time password, and once he get that password, which goes on customer's mobile. So unless you have knowledge of MPIN and physical possession of mobile, you can't do the transactions using Oxygen Mobile Wallet.
Gateways and merchants alike are conscious of the threat to customer safety, but as of now, the wrong side is winning. The digital world is full of opportunities. You can find great inspiration, apply your talent, socialize, or just play. Now the Internet of Everything is expanding and has the potential to change the ways in which we fundamentally interact with technology. The Internet-enabled devices are quickly making homes more connected and intelligent. Internet of Things in healthcare is keeping patients healthy and safe. And in the corporate sector, it is making jobs easier and omnipresent.
There's a common phrase used in the industry today. There are only two types of companies, either company which has been hacked or companies that do not know that they've been hacked. And therefore, person who's running a company today, we all have to worry about the amount of information we store about our stakeholders on our systems, because there is always a potential of hack or an attack on our systems.
In today's world, it's very, very common for us to find a lot of people having devices that are extremely beneficial to them from a wellness and health standpoint. You have wearable devices. On the other hand, you also have complex devices like pacemakers that are installed within a human body, giving out vital signs and parameters on the health of a person. You look at the spectrum that these two kind of devices basically work on. You know, a pacemaker, for example, is extremely essential in ensuring that the patient stays healthy and, if I may say, even alive. What if a pacemaker could malfunction because somebody actually went into the device that connects to the pacemaker and tampered with it, infusing either viruses or some other unknown software? The need of the hour again is to have some kind of standardization and ensuring that these devices are tested, are certified, and are put into the market after having the necessary approvals.
But from a security and privacy perspective, the predicted pervasive introduction of sensors and devices into currently intimate spaces such as the home and the car, and with wearables and ingestibles, even the body poses particular challenges.
The lot of IoT devices are increasingly very insecure, are capable of being hacked, and security standards are still being developed on it as we talk. So I think people need to be not very adventurous. They need to be careful when they make their digital presence. You need to only give such information as others people need to know.
So whenever you develop any technology, there are two things which are very important. One is the verification of that application, that what you are expecting from the application, whether they are delivering it or not. Second is something which is validation. That means whether what we are requesting from the application, whether they are delivering it correctly. Now, due to the too much competition in the society today and in the competition in the market, every company who is developing some kind of Internet of Things, they want to be ahead than the last one. So they are skipping the validation part, which is very, very important. Now, being a hacker and being a security professional, what they will try to do, they will try to look for that loophole who is not validated properly, and after triggering that, they're going to control the entire machine. It can be a smart city, it can be a hospital appliances, it can be a car which is driverless car which is there. So once it is get compromised, it can be controlled remotely.
There are a lot of small digital devices coming up in the market which really come under IoTs, and these devices are vulnerable for viruses. And since these devices, they don't have any international standards, as most of the manufacturers, they maintain their own standards. I believe that global industry should come together and set a proper standards for manufacturing these devices. Will really help security companies also to design proper security software or security protection for these devices.
India is rapidly moving towards a digital ecosystem. The number of connected devices is only increasing, and the internet is penetrating the remotest of areas. But have we covered all our bases? There are huge gaps in India's cybersecurity infrastructure. India might be ready for a digital future, but is it truly prepared to handle the security risks that tag along?
Every day, Indians lose crores of rupees on a cumulative basis as far as their losses on the internet through frauds and through other cybercrimes is concerned. But because there's no holistic approach of either reporting these cybercrimes or trying to find out the cumulative damage, most of the time the holistic picture invariably does not come through. But the picture is far more grim than what we are thinking it to be.
While most of us are much more aware of the risks now, we should all be raising the bar. Safety standards of devices and security should have always been a priority.
Well, when you talk of a security in a connected world, you have to be alive to the fact that you are going to be more and more insecure. Why? In a connected world, it's possible to target your security from a variety of paradigms and entry points. That being so, at the end of the day, you will have to quickly realize that when you are in a connected world, there are 1,000 different ways for people to come out to reach out to you and your information. In that scenario, the more duly diligent you are, the more careful you are about exposing the kind of information you want to expose, the better it will ultimately be.
So is it possible to enjoy digital life without fear? What is the need of the hour? How can we establish standards and security in this connected world?
What is the need of the market right now? Number one, to develop a basic set of standards. Second, what are the testing protocols and how to test the hardware and the software that goes into this industry? And third, and most importantly, how do you test and certify against those protocols developed? Whether it's data privacy or security or safety of the products and devices that we use on an everyday basis, the challenge for the government and the regulators is to stay ahead of the game, because all of these technologies are evolving at such a rapid pace. Therefore, we cannot possibly create rules and regulations for every single thing. What we need instead is a common ethos, sort of guide rails along which we can define what is okay and what is not okay, and the entire ecosystem has to be an important member in creating those protocols. At some level, some countries, whether it's US, UK, Germany, there are some countries which are already starting to develop and define these standards. As India, we don't at some level have to redefine these standards, but we have to do two things. Number one, we have to observe what's going on around the world, and second, pick and choose what works well for us in India as the technology evolves here.
Classification is the first thing. You need to classify, you need to prioritize how the data flow happens across the organization. You need to do most organizations don't do a data flow analysis. Now, they have disparate data sources. There are entry points, there are egress points, and they store data in certain databases, and then it's consumed in an ad hoc fashion. So the first thing would be to have a logical understanding of how data flows in the organization. With respect to employees accessing it, what are their limitations in accessing that? What kind of data can your customers access? What kind of data can your partners, your vendors, and the further ecosystem access? So, having a sound data classification guideline, having a sound data leakage prevention policy, having a cybersecurity governance that has a supervisory role and which can protect the information chain, that's more important. I think that's the only way to mitigate data class.
The very fact that there is law is good. The very fact that the government is committed towards protecting cybersecurity is good, but that does not divest the individual of the responsibility of being secure on his own self. So people will start to have cyber hygiene habits in this regard. They need to be more sensitized on what kind of a cyber security mechanisms they need to adopt in their day-to-day operations.
The digital economy is booming and hackers are evolving. Security must evolve too. Security must be pervasive in the network, a network that extends to all devices we use every single day. The network must become the security device.
We are all using connected
Next week on UL Presents India Demands Safety Standards, the experts discuss safer technology in a connected world.
We can have standardization of disclosure norms.
And if you have a story, opinion or suggestion for us, please visit www.safetystandards.com.